up on Bloom, how to maximize your sweetness in your relationships.
Like any good relationship, like any good investment, right? You have to continuously pour into it. You have to nurture it. And that is always defined by quality and depth of communication. How strong, how authentic, how pure is that communication?
And we're merging dessert and design, making edible cupcake bouquets. Plus, the Today Show's Joy Bauer is whipping up sweet treats with a healthy twist. We'll have all that and more as Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, starts now. I'm Gayle Guyardo. Welcome to Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We're helping you live the sweet life today, and here to kick things off and help us maximize the sweetness in our relationships is behavioral scientist Dr. Gino Calora. It is so great to see you.
Oh, Gayle, you know it's always a pleasure.
So we thought about, the sweet life. It really does center around our relationships. That can make or break a life.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's the old adage, right? You are who you keep, right? Because at the end of the day, relationships matter. The influence that we have on other people and the influence they have on us, it weighs a lot, right? It very much defines how we view the world, our place in it, and the quality of life and the quality of decisions that we make every single day.
So what can we do to strengthen those relationships and surround ourselves around people that bring us happiness and joy?
Well, here's the thing, right? Like any good relationship, like any good investment, right? You have to continuously pour into it. You have to nurture it. And that is always defined by quality and depth of communication. How strong, how authentic, how pure is that communication? Because look, all of us get into that realm of, I'm just going to check the box and, oh, hi, how you doing? But there's no depth, right? We have gotten to a place, unfortunately, where we have forgotten the meaning and the importance of depth in relationships, in communication. So you have to spend the time. You have to invest the quality time. Do new things together. Explore new avenues, new conversations, but make sure you're doing it with a sense of community and you're truly in it together. And
we're talking about all relationships, our intimate relationships, our relationships with family, friends, they all matter.
Every single one of them matters. Look, at the end of the day, all of us know this. Time is the one thing we can never get back, and it's the most important thing that we have, right? So the quality in which we're using that time, it matters in a very big way. So it doesn't matter if it's a spouse, if it's a child, if it's a parent, if it's a friend, if it's a colleague. If they mean something to you, if they're a part of this journey in life with you, you have to nurture it, you have to take care of it, because ultimately, whatever you put in is what you're going to get out.
And I'm so glad you said that you don't get the time back, because my husband and I, we went down with some friends to Sarasota over the long weekend and on the Memorial weekend, and we were at a restaurant that we would go to all the time, a great Italian restaurant, Mediterranean. And the server said, I remember when you would come with your parents, Gayle, and all 4 children. And she pointed to the table that we would always sit at. Wow. And she's like, and you were laughing and having so much fun. And as hard as that was to take in, because my folks are gone and 2 of my kids are out of the house and, life just carries on. I did look back on it and think, you know what? I have 0 regrets. I spend so much quality time with my family, and that really taught me a lesson about the relationships and moving forward and what I can do to build that for my family, like a legacy.
Without a doubt, and that is such an important thing. Look, the quality of decisions that we make, if you have to decide between what you're going to do with your time, if it's spending an extra few hours late at night at work and you're going to miss your child's football game or baseball game or date night with your spouse or just a good conversation with mom and dad as they're getting older, those are the moments that we take with us. Those are the moments that actually matter. Like when our time is done here on this earth, you're not going to look back and miss the late work nights, right? Or the stress from the job or whatever it is that's going on. But the things that you don't want to miss out on are the quality moments and the memories, right? Just like at that restaurant, what you felt as soon as the waiter said that, oh my gosh, it takes you back and it's like, wow, those were really good times. And it feels good, right? And it means something. That's the whole entire purpose of this life, right? Really, really experience the joy and being able to put yourself in those moments where you get to really, really shine and think about those memories, those people, those relationships.
What do you say though to the folks out there that are having moments where they're struggling with relationships in their lives? And those types of struggles really do have a ripple effect.
Without a doubt. Look, what's the easy thing to do? The easy thing to do is put it on a shelf. right? I'm not going to pay attention to it. Like, at the end of the day, this is my life, that's their life. I'm not interested in having any sort of a connection with them because all it causes is stress or drama or whatever the case is. But look, at the end of the day, if they're part of your circle and there's trust and there's love there, even if it's been clouded with some sort of adversity, some sort of challenge, meet it head on. Do not waste time. Do not sit there and wait for tomorrow, because look, the truth of the matter is none of us knows if tomorrow's actually going to be here. And the last thing that you want is regret. You don't want to carry regret for the woulda, coulda, shoulda, because time is forever fleeting. And if you don't savor every drop that you can in the relationships that mean the most, because look, we are a tribal and community species, right? We need each other, right? We need to have those moments. We need to have that trust, that bond. And if we neglect what it is that means, you're taking a piece of happiness away from yourself and your family. So meet it head on, have the hard conversations, push through it, but the biggest thing is be committed to it. Be committed to one another, be committed to find solutions.
Relationships, though, are a two-way street. And if you are met with resistance while you're trying to bury hatchets and pass along olive branches, what do you do?
And this is where time does matter, right? Because look, different folks process emotions, they process stress in different ways. And where you may be ready to have that conversation, maybe they're not, right? But being able to leave the door open and say, look, when you are ready, I am here. Know that I love you. My door is open, right? But at the end of the day, each day that goes by is a missed opportunity. I don't want us to miss any more opportunities. But when you're ready, you let me know. And that's hard, right? Because look, you don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. You don't know if it's going to be 5 years from now. But at the end of the day, can you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I did my part. I did everything that I could. And that's truly what matters the most. I don't want anyone who's dialing in and watching right now to go back and look in their past history and have those regrets. Like, oh no, I shut that opportunity off to have that conversation because I was convinced that this person's A, B, C, or X, Y, Z. 9 times out of 10, what you think they are is not accurate, right? We are being swayed and completely being influenced by emotions and thought and other factors that aren't necessarily accurate, but you have to give yourself the opportunity to have a conversation.
Yeah, and I like that. Leave the door open, because at least, like you said, no regrets.
That's exactly right.
Dr. Gino, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to see you, as always.
Always a pleasure, Gayle. Thank you.
All right, we're going to post all of Dr. Gino's advice on bloomtampabay.com. And when we come back, it's time for this week's What the Health with the Today Show's Joy Bauer. She's putting a healthy twist on sweet treats. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now, 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. It's time for this week's What the Health with the Today Show's nutrition, health, and lifestyle expert, Joy Bauer, who's whipping up sweet treats with a healthy twist. Hey, Joy.
Hey, I love this spot because when the temperatures start to rise, there is nothing like a refreshing sweet treat. And the things that I'm going to show you today sort of like hit double duty. They not only satisfy a sweet tooth, but they also deliver lots of nutrition, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. I think you're going to really like these three.
All right, so what are you serving up?
So the first, we're going to sort of take a tropical spin, and I'm going to show you how to make a shaved pineapple ices using just one ingredient, pineapple. And this is an awesome kitchen hack because what I do is I take pineapple spears and I freeze them. That is frozen solid. And using a microplane, you just glide it over back and forth, back and forth. And I'm telling you, Gayle, you create these delicate, fluffy, melt in your mouth ice crystals that just hit the spot. A few things to know about this one. First, you really want to make sure that those spears are rock solid frozen, but they're also very cold. So what I tend to do is I'll wrap a paper towel around them as I grate it over the microplane. I did try this with a box grater. It didn't yield that same sort of melt in your mouth, fluffy, gentle crystals. So I would say to use the microplane. And the other thing is it melts relatively quickly. So this is something that you want to make as you're ready to enjoy it. And it's so easy. So if you keep, like me, keep a stash of these frozen spears in your freezer, as you have any kind of a craving, you just whip them out one at a time. And pineapple, of course, has vitamin C to boost our immune system. It also has an enzyme called bromelain, which eases inflammation and aids in digestion. So, again, all around great, refreshing sweet treat.
I love it. Now tell me about the frozen banana bites.
This is a great one. So, all that I do is I take a banana and peel it, then I slice it into quarter-inch wheels. You'll get about 12 to 15 slices per banana. Then I take a Greek yogurt, a flavored Greek yogurt. I put a little bit over the top of each. Then I had a tablespoon of peanut butter that I melted in the microwave. I got it nice and drizzly. Make your zigzags over, put it in the freezer. And then after they freeze, I transfer them. They're on parchment paper right now, but then I transfer it into a storage bag to just sort of free up space. And then whenever you have, a craving, they are waiting for you and they melt in your mouth and they're so good.
Those look so good. Now I understand you have frozen yogurt chocolate chip cookies.
I love cookies. Do you love cookies?
Love them, especially chocolate chip.
Yeah, here's my problem with them. It takes about 30 seconds to gobble down a cookie, and then I'm left with like crumbs maybe on the plate, and I want another and another and another. So this is a fun way to extend the eating experience, but still feel like you're eating a cookie. So I'm calling it a froyo cookie because I first take a single serve flavored Greek yogurt, whatever your favorite brand is, and I put it out on parchment paper on a baking sheet in a circle. Then I take a chocolate chip cookie, I crunch it over the top. I sort of like firm it with my hand, so I set it, put it in the freezer, and then when you take it out, because it's frozen, you break off pieces, and now you're getting a cookie that takes a long time to eat. It's chilled and fun, but also has protein and calcium. What's better than that?
I love it. And these are such great ideas because you've got the hot summer months ahead of us. So it's refreshing. And then, like you say, it's a healthy alternative to satisfy our sweet tooth.
Right. You could feel really good about it because even though it is a sweet treat, it gives you the feeling of an indulgent dessert, but it's all good stuff. I mean, yes, we do have an actual chocolate chip cookie on top of that yogurt, but you're getting the calcium, you're getting the protein, and all of these things are single serve. So if you want to make things just for yourself, or you want to, bank a great big batch of them, you can do that as well and just sort of keep them in the freezer. But super simple, totally delicious.
I
Hope
love
everybody
it.
tries them.
And a great activity to do with the kiddos. Everyone's out of school now here in the Tampa Bay area and beyond. So it's a project to do and everyone's going to love it. Fun for the family. Joy, thank you so much for joining us.
You got it. Wishing everybody a great week ahead.
You too. We're going to share Joy's recipes on bloomtampabay.com. Make sure you follow her on social media. She's amazing. And stick around. Coming up, I catch up with Emmy Award-winning New York anchor Cindy Hsu about her mission to help people struggling with their mental health. And later, meet a woman competing in the largest dessert festival in America, which, by the way, is coming to Tampa Bay. We'll tell you all about it in your window to the weekend. And speaking of dessert, before we go to break, it is time for today's Bloom Trivia question. The word dessert comes from the French verb desservir. What does that translate to? Eat something sweet, clear the table, or let them eat cake? We'll have the answer later on Bloom. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back. Today we're helping you live the sweet life, and that includes finding balance with your mental health to enhance your overall wellness. Joining me now is Chinese-American Emmy Award-winning news reporter and CBS New York anchor Cindy Hsu. Cindy, welcome to Bloom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Cindy, despite the prevalence of conditions like anxiety and depression, why do you believe so many people still suffer in silence?
Because of the stigma, I still think that people are embarrassed about having, mental illness, and there's no reason to be. The thing that I've learned through my journey has been that it actually takes courage to get help, and that we really need to, just talk about it openly, because believe me, you are not alone if you're someone out there that's suffering from mental illness.
I do have to say, as someone who spent gosh, I just celebrated 30 years at this television station, most of that time spent sitting on an anchor desk. And I really applaud and admire you for stepping out and sharing your own personal story because, you know, when it comes from somebody like you with so much credibility, I think it makes the rest of us feel like we're not alone.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it took, gosh, it was, you know, years for me to come out and talk openly about it. So when I, you know, went into depression and then had to leave work, and it led to a suicide attempt. And then I got better, I recovered. But even after that recovery, when I came back to work, I didn't talk to anyone about it. It wasn't until maybe years later that I finally learned enough and educated myself enough that it's nothing to be ashamed of. And as soon as I talked about it openly, so many people that I knew that were very close to me shared their experiences, and I had no idea.
Yeah, I think we all feel like, you know, we want to just bury our feelings inside. And, you know, a lot of times thinking, well, I got so much going for me, or I do have this great life. It's not okay for me to feel that way, but it is okay. And it's important to open the conversation. And, you know, now we're on the heels of May being Mental Health Awareness Month, but the important thing is that we keep the conversation going year round.
Oh, definitely. Not just May. And, you know, you were talking about having these conversations. It is so important. And just you know, you doing this on your show, I think is fantastic because I think people shy away from it. And what I want people to know is, number one, they're not alone. And number two, mental illness is just as important as physical illness or physical health. Like, you have cancer, you have diabetes, you go to the doctor, you get it treated. You have a mental health issue, you need to do the same thing. You can't just ignore it. You know, diabetes isn't just going to go away on its own. And same with severe depression or bipolar disorder, or, I mean, there are so many different mental illnesses, and we just need to learn more about it and take them seriously.
You know, it's really interesting, and you'll know so much about this, but Wild Bloom broadcasts around the nation and, you know, really around the world now. We're based here in Tampa, Florida, and WFLA finds it very important, like many TV stations, to do research and to find out, you know, what's weighing on people's minds so that we can deliver more stories like this. And mental health was right there at the very top. I mean, people are starting to care about it more. So on a personal level, you know, how were you able to overcome and take the steps from being in a place where life was so low that you wanted to end it to opening up a conversation and being on the forefront of this very important conversation?
Well, it did take a few years for me to feel comfortable enough to open up about it. But, you know, it was around COVID time that I decided to tell people. And I think it was because everyone going through COVID were having, you know, mental health issues, being so isolated and, you know, losing so many people to COVID. So I felt like this is the time that anyone can really understand, you know, what people who have mental illness are going through. And this is the time that we need to let them know what the symptoms are, let them know there is treatment, because after, you know, what happened with me, I needed to go to a psychiatric hospital. That's when I first started getting help with psychiatrists and psychologists and social workers, and group therapy is really good. When you can sit next to someone who's been through what you've been through and say, you know, I get it. Music therapy, which I didn't even believe in that. Art therapy, I didn't believe in that. But all of these things really helped me. And now, you know, I still see a therapist once a month, and I am on medication. And this is something that I may need to do for the rest of my life, but it's something super important. And I'm just going to take care of it, and I'm going to keep talking about it because I want people to come out of the shadows and know that there's so many people feeling the way you do, and just get help. You know, there's so much out there. There's so many groups. You just need to find it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm so glad that you said that because, like, you know, I was by both my parents' side during their healthcare journey, and when it's cancer, you know exactly what to do. When it's heart disease, you know exactly what to do. There's a path. But when it comes to mental health, a lot of people don't know where to turn. So, Cindy, you know, props to you for getting the word out and just letting people know that there are avenues out there that can help.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the first avenues I feel like is, if you think you're having an issue, you should go to your general practitioner, your internist, and tell them what you're feeling. And then when I did that, then when I said I'm feeling suicidal, he sent me to a psychiatrist. So start with your primary doctor. Also, a few really good groups is the National Alliance for Mental Illness, NAMI. Go to their website. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Go to their website, because there are a lot of even videos of how to have conversations with people. Let's say you're worried that your son or your daughter or your parent is suffering. It's really hard to talk about it.
Yeah, that's good to know.
But you need to talk about it, and it will tell you how to do it.
All right, Cindy, thank you so much. So appreciate you.
Welcome.
All right, we're going to share Cindy's story on bloomtampabay.com. And if you or anyone you know is struggling and needs help, you can also call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson of Tampa.
It's time for your window to the weekend, presented by Renewal by Anderson of Tampa. Get your sweet tooth ready, because the largest dessert festival in America is coming to Tampa Bay. And here to tell us more about Dessert Wars is the owner and baker of Megan's Macarons, Megan Parsons. Megan, welcome to Bloom.
Hi, Gail. Nice to be here.
So first we need to say there is definitely a difference between a macaroon and a macaron.
Absolutely. So a macaron is a French pastry. It's actually not a cookie, it's a pastry. And a macaroon is a coconut-based cookie. So macaroon has 2 O's, macaron has 1 O.
So you competed last year at Dessert Wars.
I did.
You made it all the way to nationals with your incredible recipe, and you're ready to do it again.
I am. So this Saturday I'll be competing, and so the recipe we have today is a Swiss recipe, and we've got 158 grams of almond flour, 158 grams of powdered sugar, 150 grams of granulated sugar, 150 grams of egg whites, and 6 grams of egg white powder. So we're going to dump the granulated sugar in a glass bowl along with the egg white powder, mix it all together till it's seamless, then add the egg whites. This is over a simmering pot of water. You want to dissolve the sugar.
All right.
Then you're going to add it to your mixer, and while you're mixing it, you can add the food coloring. I use a powder-based food coloring to not mess with the consistency. So once you've got a strong meringue, you will mix your almond flour and your powdered sugar into a bowl, and you whisk it together to get the clumps out. And then once you've done that, you take the powder mixture, dump it into the meringue mixture a third at a time, and you do a circular motion. You do that 3 times, and then you pour the batter into a piping bag. I like to put it into a jar so that I don't make a mess.
It seems very precise. Like
It's
you
very
have your
precise.
measurements, and the technique is important.
And I use this scale because macarons, it is a science, and you can't measure by cups. You have to do it by weight.
Okay.
And so now we've got our macaron batter.
Okay.
And I'm going to pipe. I'm going to show you how to do it.
Right.
So then you can do it yourself. So you're just doing a dollop. You're doing it straight down.
Okay.
Would you like to try?
I'm going to give it a try.
Okay.
I've tried this once before. I wasn't so great at it, but I'm starting from the middle.
Yep.
And then what happens?
You squeeze.
And turn, or just keep squeezing?
There you go. You're perfect. There you
Really?
go. Yep.
Mine seems like a Hershey kiss, and yours
It's
seems
okay.
perfect. You better do it.
It's all right. I'll do one more. So you're
Okay.
just squeezing from the top,
Okay.
and then you round it off. And so I use a mat that has the circles printed on it already.
Okay, so that makes life
So
easier.
yeah, so I'm going to set this aside.
All right. Pop that in the oven
Pop it
real
in the
quick.
oven.
And with the magic of TV, you have some already made.
Yep. So while that's baking, we make our buttercream with the paddle attachment with the same blender we used over there to make the macaronage. Then, so we've got 4 cups of sugar, granulated sugar, a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, 2 sticks of butter, and almond extract. So I whip the butter, then add the sugar, the heavy whipping cream, and the almond extract, and mix that for about 3 minutes, and you have buttercream.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the macarons out of the oven. They've been cooled off for a while, so that's why I'm not burning my hand.
Okay.
So then we're gonna flip some over.
All right.
And we're gonna take our buttercream
Ah.
and add just a little bit.
There it is.
So then you can sandwich it together. Some people like a lot of buttercream. Some people
Just like a little
just
dollop?
like a little dollop.
Okay.
You sandwich them together. You put them in an airtight container for at least 24 hours, no more than 48, to mature so that the filling gets incorporated into the shell, and then you can enjoy.
And then you have, and this is a finished product
Yeah, this
here?
is a finished product here.
Okay, fantastic. I will take one, give it a little bite. So good. I can see why she made this all the way to nationals. Thank you so much. Dessert Wars is happening tomorrow at the Florida State Fairgrounds from 3 until 7. We're going to put everything you need to know and this recipe on our website. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Renewal by Anderson of Tampa.
You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We begin where your checkup ends. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Thought Leaders of America on behalf of VIEW.
Welcome back to Bloom. Artificial intelligence is shaping our healthcare and is being used to improve the quality of care for patients by allowing providers to focus less on tasks and more on patients. Joining me now to tell us more about the value AI brings to healthcare professionals is Terrance Mills, the CEO of VIEW. Welcome to Bloom.
Thanks for having me.
So it's such an exciting time in healthcare, and because right now providers really have to focus on manual stuff, and AI is changing everything.
It really is. It's changing a lot both in the front end of healthcare and the back end of healthcare, where people don't really get to see it on the back end. But it really means that we're getting people paid faster. So we're getting doctors paid, we're getting health systems paid, and that's what really helps the quality of care.
That's really incredible. So what does it mean to make data-driven decisions, which AI and VIEW is also bringing to the table?
So we work a lot on coding. We work a lot on risk of claims. And so if humans don't code claims very well, claims get denied. So now we've discovered that humans just don't do it well. And there's an opportunity for machines to come in and assist humans, not replace humans, but turn human coders into superhuman coders so that they can then focus on more complex claims and then focus on the data that the machine delivers so that they can share it with the rest of the organization and they can make different decisions for healthcare.
And let's talk about how VIEW is using AI technology to help when it comes to the quality of care for patients.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a business concept, and the concept says that anything that we put into the health systems today or into really doctors' organizations helps them focus on patients. And so if we are getting them paid, you focus less on money and more on us. And that's really a big part of what that means. We have to continue to deliver in the healthcare systems with technology that they can use so that they can focus on you and me and not on their money problems.
And let's talk about other examples of problems that VIEW and AI and your technology is using to solve.
Sure. So we also look at the risk of claims before they're submitted. And so we're making certain predictions about how much a claim might get paid. We're also making predictions if it'll be denied. And that happens usually normal practice on the back end. Providers have to wait for claims to be denied to know what happened to the claim, meaning how it was adjudicated. We do it on the front end, allowing the provider to make changes to the claim if it has a high probability of being denied, allowing them within seconds to make a change and then submit it properly.
So if I'm a provider out there watching right now, what can I do to jump on board with this? Because it sounds really exciting.
It is exciting, and we're speaking with a lot of providers, and those providers range from both small, one doctor office type of providers, all the way up to multi-billion-dollar health systems. And they're focused on money to a great extent, and how they can shore up their balance sheets and then focus on you and me. So it's pretty easy for them to get involved. It's all about workflow. So doctors and big health systems have a workflow today, and our system fits directly into their workflow, so they don't have to make a lot of changes, and that really helps them. So it's an attractive solution to some very large business problems.
Really exciting. Thank you so much for sharing this with our Bloom viewers, Terrance.
Thank you.
All right, for more information on this AI technology and View, visit their website, view.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Thought Leaders of America on behalf of View.
Many times living the sweet life means making bold moves to live the life you want. And our next guest stepped away from a successful career in corporate America to live her culinary dream job. Joining me now is pastry chef and the owner of Decadent and Dainty, Danielle Armstrong. And when you see how she's mastered cupcake bouquets, it's gonna blow your mind. Danielle, welcome to Bloom. Your work is off the charts.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here today, Gayle.
And I love the story about, you taking this bold step to really embrace your dreams. And a lot of it had to do with your dad.
Yeah, honestly, I found myself really stressed out in corporate America, overwhelmed. My dad has late-stage dementia. He came to visit me this past January, and while a lot of people said, oh, this is so depressing, he gave me a true gift. My dad helped me pay for culinary school, and he never got to see me do anything with it. I been in corporate America for a long time. And seeing him and how life is so short and time just passes you by, it was a gift he gave me. I was realize he left, I quit my job, and I followed my heart, and I had this idea, and I feel like the Tampa Bay area has been missing something like this, and I'm super excited to bring my ideas, design, art, everything, and to this. I think we can do something really fabulous.
Yeah, this is unbelievably beautiful, and I'm so glad that you are bringing this gift to Tampa Bay. You've only been in business really just over a month now,
yes.
Not long at all, and you're already being embraced, and I can see why people are just fanatical about these arrangements, because the majority of what I'm looking at, yes, there are a few delicately placed flowers here, but a lot of what I'm looking at are cupcakes.
Yes, yes, and actually, I would love to put you to work.
Okay,
I'm going to show you how to pipe a simple rose.
Okay, I just want you to know, full disclaimer, I'm not the craftiest girl in town, but I will give it the old college try.
Oh, Gayle, you're going to be great.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So we're going to take this cupcake.
Okay.
I already have it iced with green icing,
Okay.
so it's going to be like the base of your cupcake.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you this small bowl
right.
of
Icing.
okay. And it's just a thicker mixture of the buttercream. It's just more confectioner sugar. And
Okay.
this is going to be the base of your cupcake. And we're going to shape this into a cone.
Oh, okay.
And just roll it. We're going to place it just like that. It doesn't have to be a perfect cone, but this is going to be the base of your rose.
Okay.
And you're going to...
Even my cone is pathetic.
No,
All right, here we go.
it can't
All right,
be.
all
No,
right.
it's perfect.
All right, there we go. It's kind of a cone situation. All right, I got it.
See, it's
right,
perfect.
all right.
Okay, so this is your piping bag.
All right.
And the tip of the piping bag, you want the small tip to be facing up.
Okay.
All right? And I'm going to have you watch me first.
All right. This is probably a good plan. Don't let me loose without
Okay.
instructions.
So the tip is up, and we're just going to go around the base
Okay.
like this. And you're going to turn it like
And
this.
I see you're squeezing from the top.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you're just going to go around.
Okay. My producer Sarah's in my ear saying she believes in me.
Look at you go, Gayle.
It's coming along. It's coming along. All right.
And then you just want to overlap. So you're going to go up and down, sort of like a
It's really
teardrop.
cool. I'm actually really enjoying this. It's oddly becoming therapeutic for me.
So it's interesting. After my dad visited, I had stepped away. I wasn't doing any baking, and it was one joy in my life. So I started baking again, and I started making just cupcakes like this, and people started inquiring, how do I buy them? Where can I get them? Can I buy them? So I decided to try a business at it.
I
And
love
here we are
it
today.
I love it. So people are, I mean, I've heard, I mean, this is a lot of the stories and the wonderful guests like we have here on Bloom come from people, you know, out in the community spreading the good word about you. And I understand that your business is, you know, people are really embracing you in the St. Pete area. Are you like growing and
Yeah, so a lot of people have asked about shipping. I'm in talks right now with vendors, possibly in the future being able to ship to different areas, and that's super exciting. But right now, unfortunately, I'm only in the Tampa Bay area. I do free delivery to all St. Petersburg, and then I also do deliveries outside of St. Pete.
Okay, that's really good to know. All right, so mine is not as exciting as yours because I think I just got like a bit of a runaway
and
train.
actually, but it's okay.
It's
Flowers
okay?
aren't perfect, and so that looks like more like a carnation.
There
So
it is, a carnation.
There you go.
It could maybe be a boutonniere. I love it. This is actually really, really fun. I'm having, and by the way, you are a pastry chef, so the cupcakes themselves are off the charts amazing, is from what I hear.
Yes.
Now I have to taste it. Is that
Yes.
okay? Now you made a space for this to go, but I'm gonna eat mine. Is that okay?
Oh, yes.
All right, well, listen, thank you so much. Congratulations on your tremendous leap of faith. We support you and lift up local and wish you the very best. Anytime you want to come back, you can.
Well, thank you so much, Gayle. I really appreciate everything and having me today.
Absolutely. And if you want to watch this art form come to life, we've posted this story for you on bloomtampabay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Tampa Bay Water on behalf of University of Florida IFAS Extension.
Welcome back to Bloom. Summer, sunshine, and sprucing up your outdoor space is the perfect time to think green. Joining me now with some water-saving and money-saving Florida-friendly landscaping tips is Lynn Barber, an agent with the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Scientists here in Hillsborough County. Welcome.
Thank you.
So why is it so important for us to save water, especially outdoors?
Well, it's important because we only have a finite amount of water. And considering the number of people that are moving to Florida every year, which is significant, that means we're going to have more use of the water resources that we have.
Now, are there tricks that we can do with our landscaping that can help us conserve?
Absolutely. So one trick is using micro irrigation instead of using an in-ground irrigation system. So that means with micro, it's gallons per hour, not gallons per minute, so you're saving water. So you could convert a landscape bed, take it off of your in-ground irrigation system, and save water by irrigating that way.
Important to remind people by doing this, not only are you saving our planet and water resources, but you're also saving a lot of money along the way.
Absolutely.
Now, what about plants? Can those help?
Yes, plants are a great thing. So I have a few native plants here. So native and non-native adaptive plants are really important. So plants can adapt to our landscape, but native plants already are adapted to our landscape. So you still want to make sure that you give them a drink when you purchase them and plant them, but keeping an eye on them right now is a bit of a challenge, as hot as it's been.
Now, you actually have classes, because I know people are really interested and they want to make a difference.
We do. So February through November, we teach a triple workshop, which is composting, micro irrigation, and rainwater harvesting.
Okay, and then what about when we're watering the landscaping?
All right, so when you water the landscape, make sure you're following whatever the water restrictions are, because that is actually a law. So make sure that you're watering at the right time of day and on the right day of the week. Right. So you are allowed to do that.
And you definitely should water when it's dark outside, because when it's sunlight, the sun evaporates it right up.
Well, I have seen neighbors watering in the blazing sun, and the issue with that is, you're right, it does evaporate, and it's not really helping the lawn at all. So there are specific hours that you can water, and you need to do it within those hours.
I know it probably just matters how much landscape we're talking about, but is there a ballpark of how much you can save by making these changes? Because that always seems to incentivize people.
Well, when you think about gallons per hour versus gallons per minute, that is huge. So you can save hundreds or thousands of gallons of water over the course of a very small amount of time, just by converting some of your landscape beds to micro irrigation.
So it's a small investment initially for a big payout in the long run.
Absolutely.
And it's so important to remember that we are, saving our water, our environment. It's important that we all play a role, even if it's just a small one.
Yes.
It adds up in the long run. Well, Lynn, thank you so much for bringing everything out. We appreciate it. And of course, you can find landscaping tips, resources, and free landscaping classes on their website, seen on your screen right there. And of course, we put everything on bloomtampabay.com as well, but there's the information you need. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Tampa Bay Water on behalf of University of Florida IFAS Extension.
We're back, and it's time for this week's Bloom Boost. Health news you might have missed this week. On the heels of a long holiday weekend where people spent a lot of time in the pool, there is a report out showing you need to worry about a lot more than whether someone peed in the pool. The head of the CDC's Healthy Swimming Program said public pools are of greatest concern. With more people, you do have more germs. Nearly all of the recorded outbreaks of illnesses linked to water activities involved public pools, hot tubs, or water playgrounds. The most common germs lurking down there are linked to diarrhea and pneumonia-causing germs. It's time now for today's Bloom Trivia question. The word dessert comes from the French word desservir. What does it mean? Eat something sweet, clear the table, or let them eat cake? The answer is clear the table, and another definition is serve. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Bloom today. You can catch Bloom anytime by following us on social media. We're on all major platforms, so get a behind-the-scenes look at all of the innovative breakthrough health and wellness conversations and incredible guests that we have right here on Bloom. And don't forget to check out our podcast, The Bloom Health Club. You can watch it live on Facebook and YouTube on Mondays at 2 p.m. We take a deep dive and have extended conversations with some of the top guests that we have right here on Bloom. You can watch our podcast anytime on YouTube or listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We hope you'll tune in again on the next Bloom presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We'll show you new light therapies being used to treat everything from traumatic brain injuries to hair loss. And find out about a new series streaming on PBS called After Action. I talked to its creator, a former combat photojournalist and the founder of the Veterans Portrait Project, about her new series. So stay healthy, everyone, and I will see you on the next Bloom.
Content segments during Bloom were paid for by Renewal by Anderson of Tampa, Tampa Bay Water on behalf of University of Florida IFAS Extension, and Thought Leaders of America on behalf of you.
Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.